Hmm. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kim Duramo. This is Mind Body TV. Welcome. I'd love to hear where everyone is joining from, where you're listening from. If you're listening to the recording, hello, or to the podcast. I am a physician who is sharing about mind-body medicine, the power of the body to heal itself, and how our consciousness changes what's happening in our body physically, in our health, and also affects what's happening in our lives. So I'm excited to be sharing today with this topic that we have. It's really timely. It's time to reclaim our power. And the topic is really about, are we in a disease of the mind? We're in the midst of coronavirus with the shutdown, mandated mask wearings, a lot of censorship of different points of view that go against the party line. And it really is showing us as a society, as individuals, where we've put our power outside ourselves, where we've shut down to our own wisdom, where we have shut down to our own power and like let other people take the reins to have a kind of semblance of what is like pseudo security, to have other people take care of us. And this has been really off for quite a long time. But when a situation like this happens, it really highlights where we are living disconnected from ourselves, disconnected from our power. So I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. We've got lots of people from all over the world. Midwest, hello Robin, Randy, Barb's from UK, someone in Facebook from North Carolina, Rita from Castlegar, Jimbo from California, Victoria from Arizona. Awesome topic. Love you from Arizona. Awesome. Thank you. I love you too. Randy, I'm just outside Minneapolis. I've been feeling heartbroken by all that's going on, needing a lot of feelings of helplessness and sadness. Well, this is what we're going to talk about today in this topic. Are we in a disease of the mind? Meaning, have we decided not to trust ourselves, not to let ourselves know what we know, to put our power outside of ourselves? And then what happens, we live in fear, we live in uncertainty, and we live in powerlessness as a direct result. So what happens with this disease of the mind, where we're taught not to look within, not to trust ourselves, and not to know our power? When we give our power away, we may or may not get what we need. It's outside of us. So we're looking outside of us for the answers, outside of us for someone to make a big change, outside of us for what we need, instead of really owning our power and looking at, hey, what do I know? What can I resource myself with when I begin to look inside and trust myself and let myself access my own power? So we're going to be going into that. So that really leads to a lot of fear. When we put the answers outside of ourselves, which is a big thing in medicine, it's like, I got to go to an expert to tell me what's wrong. I've got to go to someone else to tell me what to do. We've actually disconnected energetically in our own bodies. So we have to search outside ourselves for the answers. This creates massive uncertainty. And then thirdly, we doubt ourselves. We're not willing to trust ourselves, to look within for the guidance and to know what we know. And this creates powerlessness. So thank you for sharing. Here I'm back. Okay. So this is really what happens when we disconnect, which a lot of people are doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. It can be really scary to feel everything we feel, especially as a doctor. What I've seen on a physical level, people really aren't feeling everything that's happening in their own body. And as a highly intuitive, empathic person, this was apparent from a really young age. Like, whoa, how can I be aware of what's going on within someone else's body and they're not even aware of it themselves? This was really a strange experience for me in the beginning, because I thought, is everyone just lying to me? It didn't make any sense. But after a short period of time, I realized, like, they really don't know what's going on within them. What are their own thoughts and emotions that are guiding everything they're saying to me, or every choice they're making, and the actions and behaviors that I can see is coming from fear or guilt or something else that's really driving them. And they're just insisting, no, 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 this is what I really want to do. And there was such a disconnect for that person within their own body. And that's where a lot of people have been residing. As a doctor who's assisted so many with serious chronic illnesses, this is one of the first things we hook up, is you being connected with you, sensing, feeling, awareness, what's going on in here. And this is one of the things, just even physically, to relax your shoulders right now, take a few breaths, and really feel what you feel. What do your feet feel like on the floor, or your butt on the seat, or is there tension in your shoulders? Or you can physically touch your body and just bring sensation. That brings awareness to your physical body. That immediately shifts what's happening in your brain, in your chemistry, in your nervous system, in your immune system, to be more harmonic. Even if what you feel is quote unquote bad, right? Uncomfortable feelings that you don't want to feel. Even tuning into that, if that's what's here right now, even that will create a harmonic shift, meaning your body comes into greater harmony, greater health, and greater vitality just by doing that. So this is a major, major point where we can begin to access our own power, and certainly access healing in the body. Susan said, I need to keep steady on allowing everything that's happening and not reacting. It's been difficult, but is better than where I came from. Okay. So when we are in this space, which so many of us have lived in for decades, putting our power outside ourselves, looking to the expert, looking to the government, looking to someone to make a change and take care of things, we really disempower ourselves, and we forget that it was Gandhi who said, be the change you wish to see in the world. We forget that we actually have unthinkable power. Now, in your life experience, living this way, disconnected, you're not accessing it. So you're like, what is she talking about? I don't have that power. I'm not that powerful. And then you believe it, and you actually strengthen that disconnected alignment. So you're even less aware of what's going on in your body, less aware of your own wisdom, and less accessing your own power. But it's okay. That can change very quickly. Hello from Jean is in Philadelphia. Someone else from North Carolina. Let me just zip down and see everybody is tuning in. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this and on what your experience has been recently. Mandy from Canada, Shia from New York. Hello, Robert from Miami, Sue from UK. All right. So yeah, Robert said, what are some ways of living in fear? So a lot of times, especially where we're re-emerging into the world a little bit right now, there can be a lot of fear that comes up. How can I go back out there? Is there a threat? Am I okay? When we're disconnected from our own body, we don't actually know. Not only do we not know what's the best thing I can eat to support my health today, which could change day to day. It's not about what you read in a book, but we don't even know like what is, this choice. Should I make this choice? Is this choice going to be a good investment for me to move in this direction? Or is this relationship really serving my highest life? So we don't access that awareness. We kind of live in the mind, and what one of my mentors, Sylvia Olivier, calls the mental archives, stored back here in the memory bank, and we just access that. The mental archives tell us what the world says we should be. Here's who you are. Here's what you're supposed to be. Here's what it's supposed to look like. Here's how to make sure everything goes okay. It's all about fear and control. It's all about the small self. We've got to actually let that reside as it is and move into something deeper to access things like, what's the highest choice for me right now? Or what would create the most in my life and in my world? And to begin living from a higher space of awareness that comes through the heart. And I've shared in a lot of other Mind Body TV episodes about the power of your heart, the technology of your energy system When you feel this space of your heart and breathe into this space of your heart, it shifts your electromagnetic field. It happens immediately. It shifts your chemistry, your hormones, your digestion, your immune system. That happens very quickly as well. It also shifts your brain states, what you think, and how you perceive the world. And this is why I wanted to speak to this topic today. So a lot of people are asking me, well, don't you know about 5G and why aren't you doing anything? Or don't you know about, what's happening globally right now? And there's all kinds of behind the scenes of what's really going on. And the answer is yes, I am aware of many of these things and have been for many, many, many years. And I think for a lot of people in this community, as a highly sensitive person, as an empath, even if you don't know the specifics, you know the tonality, the frequency of like, something's not quite right with the world as I've been sold is the reality. You're like sniffing around and you feel the awareness of, that doesn't sound right to me. Something else going on. Because you're so energetically sensitive, you could just immediately tune into someone speaking and know, like, is this person telling the truth? Is this someone I can trust? You immediately have that awareness in your body. Most of us have shut this down, either because it's too painful to be that sensitive when I don't have a context for how to deal with it, so I don't want to be empathic, or you've just been shown by society how to stay disconnected and march on. Stay with the party line, stay with the status quo, stay with the agenda that's been kind of imposed on you of who you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to do your life. And it's a matter of like, hey, just kind of pipe down and get with the program. And I see this with a lot of people who've been treated for anxiety and depression, that there's truth that wants to live through them, but they suppress it because they're so, they've bought into the idea that that's wrong. And they want to just kind of like make it through this reality, stay under the radar, and get by. But what the world really needs, especially right now when we're in a massive global awakening, society will start to slowly reopen, and it's time to create a new world. It's time to create from love instead of fear. Can't really access that unless we're connected in our body. And so to relax your shoulders, slow your breathing, feel what you feel, notice what's there, and tune in. Because the only way you're going to access the truth of what will really create global change, or what choices will feed and fuel me into health, wealth, and vitality, or what's the best for my family, for my kids, for my work, for my career, that'll allow an expansion in my life. You can't know that when you're operating from the mental archives and the programs and disconnecting from your body. So Rachel said, what about when you've previously given your power away to doctors and ended up being let down, and now you've completely lost trust? So one of the things with this is anytime we give our power away to anyone else, life is going to show us a correction. Because life's actually on our side to awaken, to know our power. And so you're like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about, but let me trust this person. And you go on that path, and then it's not as you expected, or it doesn't create what you wanted. It's not about other people. It's about the alignment in yourself that had you not know what you know. So for example, if you encounter a doctor, let's say, in Rachel's example, but you're tuned into yourself and they're telling you, here's what I think you should do. Here's what is going on. Here's the plan. And you tune into yourself. Is this true for me? Is this my highest path? Is this the truth for me to follow? It may be a yes, it may be not. So you can let that person have their perspective of what they think is best for you, what they think is going on, and what they think you need to do. But it doesn't mean you own it as your own. You've got to check it out. So you take 3 breaths. And if you've been practicing this work, or you're in the Embracing Health program, this is what you're integrating through that program. I am here in my body. We're a unit. We're a partnership. And I can let myself know what I know. There may be many resources that come to you that way from outside. And you'll know, like, yep, this is the direction to go. I'm going to follow this path. Or you're like, not a fit for me. Thank you. I'm going to keep moving in a different direction. Doesn't mean you have to make that person wrong. It doesn't mean you're threatened that they think this way. And it doesn't mean resources aren't available to you just because this one isn't a fit. It's very much what happened to me when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and I was really sick and feeling terrible. I didn't know what to do and I tried everything. And finally a doctor said, here's what's going on. You have this rare form of rheumatoid arthritis and here's what you need to do. And here's blah, 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 conclusions. Now, I at first, was devastated at the thought that I was going to continue to get worse and worse and worse and lose function in my body in different ways. But it didn't take long because I was present to how powerless that felt, and I didn't buy into it. I knew what my body was telling me, like, Kim, that's not your path. That's not your truth. You can let that go. So I said, thank you very much. I left the office. I never looked in that direction again for what was going on for me at that time. Doesn't mean I make it wrong. Doesn't mean I have to be afraid of doctors and their perspectives, other doctors like that. It doesn't mean I have to reject it for maybe future things when there could be a resource for me there. It just means I let myself know what I know. Now, when is there a threat? When you're disconnected from yourself and denying and doubting your own truth and putting the power outside you, like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about, so this person must be right. Well, I don't have it within me, so I've got to look outside of me. That's when you're in trouble. And your body will let you know because it will feel heavy. It will feel powerless. So if you I know I just buzzed out again. I don't know how I'm doing that. But if you can begin to trust yourself and let yourself know what you know, it will register in your body because your body will be like, all right, she's here with me. We can do this. The pattern is to distrust the body, escape the body. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. Let me get on Facebook and distract myself. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. Let me run around and try to find the right program or doctor or person who can help me fix this. If you could take 10 breaths, just presence, what's happening in you right now, you begin to let those energies of fear, uncertainty, powerlessness clear, which they will do when you embrace what is instead of resisting it, fighting it, fixing it, running away from it. When you embrace it, welcome what's here now. It dissolves itself. And the reason this is so important right now is because if we each as individuals allow this awakening, even 2% awakening within us, to stop avoiding what we feel, sense, and know, and to begin welcoming what's happening within us, there's no one that has power over us. Our government, our medical system, these are put in place to serve us, not to control us. And at a time right now when medical societies are literally emailing their practitioners, alternative medical societies are emailing their practitioners to say, don't put out any information. You're not allowed to put out any information about what can help someone prevent, recover, or heal from said virus. Like literally verbally letting us know you're not allowed to share that kind of information. Now, these are the places that have the most answers and solutions for what strengthens your immune system, what we've known definitively, scientifically, to prevent and literally cure viruses like the one we're seeing now. Why is this being kept out from the mainstream? Why is this being kept out of communication? So we want to just begin to look, am I willing to know this? Because for 100 years, this has been suppressed. Not just, we're not really sure this works, so let's not put it out in the mainstream. Let's protect people because they might make this bad decision and do vitamins that really don't work or invest their money or their time into something that hasn't been scientifically proven. Well, many of these things have absolutely been scientifically proven. But it's really a question of, why have we been taught to fear and doubt these quote unquote other modalities that are not fitting into the mainstream profile, and only look to these specific things? You just want to begin to get curious. You don't need to make anything wrong or put it down or get into a big conspiracy theory. Just get a little curious. I wonder what is here. Because when you're in curiosity, you can assess the whole situation and you know what choices will serve you and what choices you can leave behind. In that equation, there is nothing that you need to resist or fight. This is the choice I choose, and these are the things I let go. You don't have to fight anything because there is no threat. But the more you start learning about, has there been suppression? Has there been repression? Are we being controlled? What's going on? Fear, uncertainty, and powerlessness. Those are the only things that keep you having a problem at all. When we begin to awaken what we know, it's very easy to see. And the solutions are already here. Robert said, it's anxiety that's getting me. Leah, my struggle is knowing how much media to consume right now. The more injustice I see, the more sad and angry I feel. Well, why not just let go? Like, why does there need to be any media you quote unquote consume? Because what does that mean? Like, you're taking it in, but you're taking it in a system where you're in right now that's still in fear and judgment. When we're in fear, and we have brain studies to show this, the brain cannot tell the difference between what's your truth and what's, a manipulation. The brain cannot tell the difference. It actually shuts down higher perception. So 10 breaths, 3 times a day, set your alarm, 10 breaths, settle into your body, let go everything outside of you. What's going on in here? What would it take for me to know what I know? And yes, the first few times it may be unfamiliar, but you don't need to jump into but I don't know the difference. I can't see. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm confused. Okay, welcome that. That's what's there right now. Breathe in, breathe out. It's okay that that's there. It's not an actual threat, okay? So when the system sees everything as a threat, that's when your body shuts down, your health shuts down, your immune system shuts down. When you surrender and welcome what is, you let those energies dissolve themselves and you begin to awaken to clarity. When we're in clarity, we cannot be manipulated. So it's okay that XYZ is going on right now. It's okay that XYZ has been going on for the past 100 years or more. It's okay. The power is you. Will you let yourself know your power, even though you feel fear, even though there may be doubt, even though you may feel hopelessness? So live in 10-second increments. Here's what's here right now. This feeling of despair, this feeling of hopelessness. Okay, I breathe in, I breathe out. Curiosity, open, look. Get back and be present to the body, because that is the only way you can interface with that space where you receive your wisdom. Pamela says, great advice, even if it's a pediatrician and your child's health. Yes. When you're in fear, so this is the thing I've seen on the other end of it, when I'm on the doctor side of it, dealing with a child, parent, a lot of times they're in so much fear that they're maybe either resisting what I'm saying or grasping onto what I'm saying, right? One or the other. Either way, they're not connecting with their own wisdom. And as for me, I was an emergency medicine doctor. So there were a lot of decisions I was making for that child, for that parent, that maybe weren't even discussed. I had to know what I know, and I had to choose accordingly and help save a life or treat a condition. In most cases, it's not emergent this 10 seconds. It's, hey, let's look at the situation and make some choices. But if that person isn't able to presence what's happening for them, they can't necessarily even have their own clarity. So as a doctor, sometimes we are just doing our best to make the best decisions for our patients. Most doctors are not very connected within their body with their own wisdom. And most people aren't. But I guarantee you one thing, your doctors that you choose and interface with will be a reflection of you. If you're present within yourself, without judgment, without fear, without needing it to be, I need a doctor who's this way, it doesn't go this way, and I have to, needing to control, you'll welcome in all of the best doctors who are ready to work with you this way, who are ready to surrender within themselves and listen to their wisdom and to have the ability to decipher what's best for you and to be a team with you. But I know from the other end of the equation, every time I would have a patient come to me who was in their fear, and I hope you're not like that last doctor because they did this to me and they did that to me and they were unfair. And you're like, there wasn't much space for them to receive me any differently. And then sometimes I would know, like, wow, inevitably they're going to be disappointed again because I have my own imperfections and they're not teaming up. They're in defensiveness already before they even came to the door against me. So even the best doctors that really show up in their hearts, you won't, like, even if you were interfacing with them, you won't perceive them that way. Or you won't interface with them at all because that mind literally creates every choice you make. Your vibrational signal creates the experiences you'll have and who you'll interface with. So it'll seem like there's just no doctors out there who get me. Okay, where's my experience repeating itself over and over and over? That's my program. So if I can breathe and let those energies dissolve themselves, which is what happens when we welcome our fear, welcome this way that I feel powerless, welcome uncertainty instead of resisting it. It's exactly what happens, is it allows a dissolution. Okay, Liam said, oh yeah, so my media, Luis, oops. So just accept your symptoms. Well, there's a difference between resignation and acceptance. And the way I'm meaning acceptance is that I welcome what is as it is and embrace it. Not a resignation of, oh, I guess I can't do anything about this anyway, so I might as well just live with it. And that's the way most people think of acceptance, and why, a program like what I've created in Embracing Health, where I bring people through a year-long integration of this upgrade in consciousness, can sound so counterintuitive. Well, if I just embrace this, if I just accept this, that means I'll never get better. And that's completely false. That's what the mind will tell you, because the mind thinks, I got to control, I got to have this, I got to have that, I got to make sure. If I embrace it as it is, it will just get worse. That was my fear when I had this same kind of illness. I was so convinced that if I surrendered to what is, instead of fighting it, that it would continue to get worse. I didn't realize that that's why it was continuing to get worse. And when I allowed this dissolution, it was actually really quick that my symptoms, even the physical symptoms, resolved. So acceptance is actually the frequency of love. To love what is to accept it, but not, I'm resigned, I guess this will never change, I'll just accept it. Actually, to truly welcome it. When we allow that expansion, that which is true cannot be threatened. That which is not true does not exist. So there is no threat by embracing what is as it is. Robert said, listening to you makes my anxiety go down. Well, this is a transmission of consciousness. And that's very much what the work in the Embracing Health group is it's not me giving you more information about what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, what not to do. That's one more way you just make this other person outside you one more guru, and you disconnect from yourself to not know what you know. They know, and so you need them, and then you need that person. But it's never going to be a perfect fit because your wisdom knows better than anyone in the whole world. And the only thing I can do as a physician, as a practitioner, is guide you to that wisdom, is access you to that wisdom, is bring you in communion with that wisdom so that you're living in your own alignment. And that's 100% how I have created my now medical practice. and what I'm doing with my patients, with my clients, with those in the Embracing Health group, aligning them to access this truth in them, which is really the ultimate return on investment, because the rest of your life will be completely changed as a result of that connection. Completely changed, like permanently altered as a result of that interconnection. Even if you bounce around a little and come in and out of it and in and out of it before you go deeper and solidify that, you can't ever go back. You can't ever go back to not knowing that you're powerful, ever, because of what you begin to see. Someone in Facebook said, I'm interested in learning more about the Embracing Health book. Oh, okay. That is, we have our first call tomorrow live, and we start the program for the year. It's at drkimd.com/health. Someone said, how do I get out of victimhood? Let me just read through some of these other questions. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at 5 years old. Yep. I'm happy I've connected with you listening. Okay. So this is a really good question. Victimhood is just the perspective that life is happening to me. And it's challenging because even if nothing tumultuous is happening, you're still in a perspective that's limiting. You're still in a frequency of powerlessness. So even if like, oh, thankfully life's being really good to me right now, I'm in the pause in between storms, I hope it stays this way, but I'm sure it won't, right? Like living in victim, living in, we'll just call it life is happening to me perspective, which many, many people are residing there still. I am disconnected from my power because I don't know that it is I who am in charge here, that life is responding to me and the vibrational signal I emit. We have the ability to detect your vibrational signal 8 to 10 feet out from your body. We can quantify this and qualify what's the quality of it, what's the actual frequency. When we're in a higher frequency, we're emitting, we're in a space of love or joy or accepting what is, accept what is as it is. That's the ultimate choice of love. When we're in that space, our body, physically, our cells emit a vibrational signal that matches. And this goes along with harmony in our circulation, our heart, our respiratory system, detoxification, digestion, our endocrine system, our immune system health. It can be qualified immediately. When we're in fear, and I'm not talking about awareness of fear, like, wow, there's a lot of fear. Because now I'm aware, I'm appreciating it. That's love. Just to be able to appreciate the depth of powerlessness you've been in. Wow, I feel powerless. Breathe in, breathe out. That's a higher vibrational signal. It's when we resist fear and we're run by fear and we live in life is happening to me, that we emit this lower vibrational signal, and it affects everything in our life. It actually goes out into the universe and welcomes in all the things that are at that frequency. Those are the people we interface with. That's like the perpetrator-victim energy. It's all the same frequency. Whether you're on the perpetrator side or the victim side, I've been in both. It's unconscious. It's the same frequency. So how do we get beyond victim? We can only, so love is truly the transmuter. It's the frequency that allows all things, physical illness, Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr virus, cancer, to transmute physically. But it also allows a transmutation, a shift energetically. When we embrace what is as it is, which we can call acceptance, we can call love, it's a higher vibration. It allows the shift of all those mental archives of the programs, memories, traumas, belief systems. You don't have to work on your belief systems to awaken. Become aware of what is. Breathe into your heart. I embrace what is as it is. That is the quickest way to awaken beyond victim consciousness and begin to see, oh, what's getting created is a reflection of me. What's happening is a co-creation. I'm playing into this. Where am I playing into this? Maybe I don't know yet, but just be curious. That alone is a much higher frequency from life is happening to me. Life's not happening to you. Life is happening through you. And so the biggest point I wanted to bring with this broadcast today is you do not need to fear the information that comes to light about what's going on right now. Even when a lot more things come to light in whatever timing they will, you do not need to fear that. You can know that you know that as I become more consciousness, even one individual person becomes more conscious in love and not resistance, that is exactly what allows the dissolution of all these old paradigms of fear and control and suppression. You cannot be controlled once you are awakened. Yes, someone could go and take your life, but it's not the same as suffering. And that's where most people are living, is in so much deep suffering because they don't know their power. So you don't need to fear when things come to light to understand what's going on and think you're powerless. Remember, all these things coming to light are doing so as a reflection of the increase in consciousness on the planet. It will continue. Like I had one of the best osteopathic doctors say to me, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it was put. When you stay present to your patient, you're just in your presence, witnessing their story, their symptoms, what they're sharing, their pain. They will tell you exactly what's wrong and what's going on. And that was the conversation we had. And many doctors are aware of that. Like, just listen with your whole body. They will tell you exactly what's going on. But what he said was, and if you continue to stay present, you will witness the healing happen. And this is how I have devised my practice to be the medicine, to show up fully within myself, my fear, my powerless, my pain, my grief, to let these energies clear so I can be a conduit for healing. That is the most powerful medicine I've ever encountered. And believe me, I have searched high and freaking low because of my own health issues, because of my own anxiety, depression, because of my own unthinkably sensitive, empathic nature. I looked, what is this about? What's going on? And this is what I found. This is the most powerful medicine, is allowing more of you to show up, which for those of you in the Embracing Health, we're starting this week. That's what you're in store for, is more of that. Louise says, what does becoming more conscious mean? Because that's like, what does that even mean? I get it. So take a few breaths right now and feel your body. Hey, body, what's going on? How are you? Take 3 slow breaths with your shoulders relaxed. Breathe and feel your whole body moving with the breath. Breathe and become aware of what you're sensing right now, just physically. That is the first step to accessing consciousness. Sounds really simple. It is really simple. But we don't realize is how much we're doing to not meet what's happening, to not really experience it fully, because it can be really uncomfortable, especially at first. Yes, so Robert, to be more present, that's one way of saying it. And it's a little bit more than that, but yeah, that's a simple way of saying it. Because when we're here, the body can only live in the now. We can't avoid anything. When we're here, there's no escape. Now, there isn't really anything to escape, ultimately, but in the very beginning, whoa, it can be intense. Because it's all the stuff you've suppressed that's now going to come out. The fear, the grief, shame, you name it. Your body will release this when you make the space for it. Hey, Jane, you are amazing. Barb's, how can we move beyond that or even accept that without blaming ourselves that we're attracting it? So this is hard. That's why I'm talking about why that first moment of it can be so uncomfortable. We're still in judgment. We're still in fear, so we fear what we sense. When I was sick with a physical illness, every sensation in my body brought fear. Oh my God, no, what's that? Is it gonna get worse? Nothing I'm doing is working. I feel powerless, hopeless. Physical sensations would bring up these energies. And then I would try to get a fix so I didn't have to feel these energies. So I didn't have to be helpless and hopeless. I didn't know that I could let it all move and be still and know, so that the clarity would come of a medicine, of a treatment, of if something was needed. And most importantly, the presence that just let it, so much of it release, that usually there wasn't anything else that was needed. And this is what I've seen with people I've worked with in groups or privately. Sorry, every time I scroll down on the questions, it brings me out of the broadcast. So that's what that means, being more conscious, simple. So without blaming ourselves. So this is the key. I want to speak to Barb. How can we move beyond this and accept it without blaming ourselves that we're attracting it? Almost like the anxiety, I'm doing this, I'm causing this, but I'm stuck within it. Okay. This is the big key that will allow that to release. Stop making it wrong. It wasn't wrong that I had this severe autoimmune disease with crazy fatigue and severe pain and joint symptoms. Now, that's a big one to get around. I think our whole medical system has been devised around what's wrong with you, let's fix it. And so we miss the whole point. What I've seen for so many people is that what's right about this, I'm not getting. This illness is actually awakening me. This illness is actually healing me in ways I never even knew I could be whole. That is the experience that I've assisted people through in my work, in the Embracing Health program, and in general ways of how I've shared this work. I never understood that this illness could actually heal me. It doesn't even make any sense in the mind that a lot of people are functioning from. So if we're not making it wrong, there's nothing to blame. There's no one to blame. It's not my fault. It's not his fault. It's not her fault. It's what is. And I can receive it because now I'm no longer resisting it. I can move through it. Thank you for that question, Barb. All right, GCT said, how can I move past the idea that PTSD causes potentially permanent changes in the brain? So here's a really powerful way to do that immediately. As an HSP who has experienced trauma that profoundly disconnected me, the symptoms of disconnect are startling. Yep, it is actually pretty big what we're doing right now, not for the faint of heart. Okay, so this is exactly what it is, an idea. I want you to feel in your body, everyone, including GC118. What does your body know? So feel in your body and breathe. This idea, PTSD causes permanent changes. You'll never get beyond this. What does permanent mean? Forget it. You're always going to have this thing. There's nothing you can do. You feel the victim energy in that? And I'm not saying whether this is true or not. I'm just letting you tune in to what you know. Your body will contract when you buy into a lie. Your body will expand, relax when you connect with the truth. So this is just truth versus lie. Okay, this idea. Hey, this is permanent. You'll have this for the rest of your life. This is permanent. You're permanent. Not just that this is permanent. This is damaged. You're permanently damaged. So feel that. That's A. Now I want you to feel B. And let's not even give it a different truth. Let's just question the first truth. So B is, what if that's not true for me? Or is that true for me? Just feel the lightness in that. Curiosity. What if that's not true for me? Right? Open to both. Willing to receive all of truth, all of life. no resistance. What's actually true here? Is that true for me? That's what I did in the doctor's office that day. Is this true for me? And it was like, no. So you don't need to fight against it, but get clarity. Just get clear. Is this true for me? What if something else is possible? And I want you to tell me how that feels in your body. What if something else is possible? Now, scientifically, and I could tell you this all day, we know that the brain is neuroplastic, that your nervous system is neuroplastic, that all these things can shift sometimes very, very quickly when you're in a higher harmonic. Most diagnoses and prognoses that are made, meaning like, here's your problem and here's what it means, are made from conclusion of, if nothing major changes, this doesn't change. This is how it goes. This will get worse. You'll die. You'll suffer. You'll have this limitation. Okay, if nothing changes, but my whole exploration in my career in medicine has been what does create the change? What does allow cells, which we have seen so many times, not just a few, go from cancerous liver cells to completely healthy liver cells, cancerous immune cells to healthy immune cells, cancerous brain cells to healthy brain cells. Whoa, there's a quantum shift. What created that? A shift in frequency, a shift in consciousness. Consciousness determines your frequency. So yes, there is this truth with a small t. This will be permanent and it will never change. Okay, in that reality where you continue to live in that vibrational signal, yeah, done. But what if we shift our vibrational signal, which is the true medicine that I've practiced? We see that the body heals. Not just a couple times that are outliers, reliably and immediately. Jake said, embracing everything as it is was an ancient practice in India called Tandava. There are a lot of things about these truths we're coming to now scientifically that point to exactly what's been known for eons in older cultures. Okay. Barb said that feels opening and lighter, getting curious. Liam, so often we make our illness the enemy that must be conquered instead of a teacher that should be loved and embraced. That, you couldn't have said it better. Hi, Liam. And that is why the foundation of our healthcare system must change. And that's part of what I'm doing in my career, is creating a true healthcare system, a system that supports and assists everyone in living in our highest levels of vitality, well-being, and abundance. What we have now is a disease care system, and illness is the enemy we need to fight. And that's fine, but we can see what that creates and look, is that what we want to create, or do we want to create something different? Let's create something different. Let's create something that supports and assists everyone in living in their highest levels of well-being, health, and vitality. Very different approach. Now there's nothing to fight. Okay, beautiful. Someone with Asperger's. Any advice for someone who has Asperger's, or is that just another label for our HSP, highly sensitive person? It can be a certain flavor of a highly sensitive person and the way they function. But it isn't about like this is a problem to be helped as much as how does this person function? Everyone has a genius. We all have a genius to contribute. And the way that that person functions is different from how maybe a lot of other people function. So it's just like we set up, handicapped access to a home or to a building. Now that person and the way they function can get access and go into that restaurant or into that building or into that home. But you've got to understand, like, how do I design a life around how I function? I did this myself, and you can do this if this is for you or for someone else. Whether it's any kind of highly sensitive person or it's Asperger's specifically, I had to create a life that honored how I function. And continuing to be a regular ER doctor was not it. And I had to question this and look at this because I didn't understand what else could there be. I had no idea. I had to create this by honoring who I was and how I functioned, being super empathic, being able to read people's energy systems, being able to immediately call out what was really going on in the deeper levels, and then being functioning in an ER where I'm like, where do I go with this? Some people were open to it, and like I could let that they would let it in and it would feel so good and so purposeful. But it's like, it was like a little drop in the bucket compared to what I really felt I was here to contribute. So I had to release that and allow something else that was designed around how I function and who I am and what's my unique genius. So everyone has that. Everyone has something to contribute. Okay. Robin, what do you do if your body's in pain in the present? And we're supposed to be present in the now. Yeah, this is where we reject. I'll be present in the now as long as it feels good. I'll be present in the now as long as it looks how I think it should look. It doesn't look like that. So judgment. That's what happens. I'll be present in the now. That sounds good. The key to all things. Okay. Then as soon as we do it, everything that we've been taught and believed we should reject comes up. What do we do then? Do we go back into the story that I should reject this, that this is wrong? Or do I actually give it the 3 breaths and get curious? There's pain. Okay. Let me sense this. Let me relax my body and really feel this. What you find with chronic pain, and this is in the Mind Body Solution for Pain Release, how I designed that program. It's a home study program. That pain is energy that's not moving. It's suppressed. Energy that's been suppressed will create pain, either physically, mentally, or emotionally. That's why so many people have done this work and told me, I got off my anxiety meds. I got off my depression meds. For decades, they were on depression meds. How did that happen? When you stop suppressing what is, energies transmute. That which is real cannot be threatened. That which is unreal does not exist. But you keep it alive. You make it exist by resisting. So it's really, really powerful. That's the biggest reason why we haven't been present. And then we put our power outside of ourselves. We put our answers. The answers are outside me. I got to read the book. I got to do the thing. I got to find the person. We doubt ourselves and shut it down. We don't even look, let alone it comes up and I doubt it. No, I'm just not even going to look. And now we're powerless. So if you're feeling fear, uncertainty, or powerlessness, it's behind one of these doors. And to release this disease of the mind and come into global awakening where we actually create amazing things that support and nurture us into health, well-being, and abundance, which they already exist. This is not like we got to create something new. They already exist. But to enter that and access that globally it requires a shift in consciousness. But I can't have that if I'm still resisting what is. I don't want to feel my pain. So give me a pill. I don't want to feel my pain. Give me a technique I can do to make it go away. Well, it does dissolve, but I'm not doing this to make it go away. I'm doing this to come into wholeness. When I come into wholeness, all these things dissolve. It's a little bit of a conundrum. I get it, because from where the space of mind is for a lot of people, it's so scary. So just relax your shoulders, breathe a few deep breaths, and let your wisdom begin to source you and guide you. There's a lot here for you when you do. All right, everyone, I love you. I'll be here every Wednesday. I'm at drkimd.com. Oh, we have a really cool thing going on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, there are 3 programs we're giving away. There's instructions there about how the contest works. But if you follow me on Instagram, you could get one of our online programs, the Mind Body Solution for Anxiety, which is what most people wanted. That was a really powerful way. A lot of people got off anxiety meds, antidepressant medications, and really began to let the energy move. The Mind Body Solution for Pain Release, another really beautiful program that's been really powerful for so many. And there's one other, I think it's the Instant Elevation, which is another one of our favorites. So those will be given away for free if you follow us on Instagram. I'm here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain for Mind Body TV. Definitely subscribe if you're in YouTube. Share this with 3 people you love, because I know that this will allow a huge global awakening when we begin to share information like this. It allows people to begin to awaken so that all the other stuff that's being shared, we begin to see through what's true for me, right? I'm not saying anything's bad or wrong. What's true for me? What will assist me in my own personal expansion and in the expansion in my world? It's all you need to ask and look for, and stay open. Nothing to resist. Blessings to you. Lots of love. You can subscribe at drkimd.com if you're interested in receiving more from us in Mind Body Medicine. And I'll see you soon. Bye.